Hello, and welcome back to Alluring Audio Live. This is our first episode of Season 3, and we have a very special guest with us, our first ever live guest. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Oh my gosh. Hi, my name is Courtney. I didn't know I was your first live guest, so it's an honor to be here.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, cool. Anywho, I thought as a fun way to start Season 3, we would do a little celebration of the father of ASMR, Bob Ross. So we're going to be doing our own little Bob Ross paint along. We won't be playing an episode, we'll just be doing it. But you folks listening at home, grab your paints, grab your papers, and you just follow right along while we create our own little magical worlds. Here's your paper. Now, Bob Ross uses a lot of expensive oil paints, which I cannot afford as I make below minimum wage. So we're just going to be using some Crayola watercolors, something I'm sure we're all comfortable and familiar with. Now, Courtney and I were talking beforehand, and our favorite Bob Ross scenes are his winter landscapes. And sadly, the town we live in, Flagstaff, Arizona, while usually quite snowy, has been quite lackluster and blue balling us with the snow this winter. So we're just going to paint Flagstaff in the winter through our own creative lenses. Fun fact about Courtney, she is actually a professional artiste. Would you care to speak on that a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. Yes, I love to draw. I'm actually not really good at painting. I do like watercolor painting, though. I think it's really nice during the atmosphere. So, excited to do this. I have a little bit of Bob Ross experience. Bob's painting experience myself. But it's actually really hard.
Wow. Well, I'm just so excited to have someone else on the artistic spectrum with me.
I look to
Okay. So, first up, we're going to need to make a mighty mountain. The San Francisco peaks are these huge, magnificent, mighty mountains here in Flagstaff that anyone in the Verde Valley area, I'm sure, is familiar with. So just dap up some black, and we're just going to start with a little triangle mountain shape. Just like so. You go at your own pace. You do your own thing. We'll compare at the end. Now, while I fancy myself quite creative, I've never been diagnosed as being on the artistic spectrum. I dabble in photography, which is like ASMR for the ears, but, it's a far cry from painting and drawing and other fine arts. Personally, though, my favorite work of art is the person sitting at home and listening. What a beautiful creature. What a wonderful creation. And so after this, you're just going to want to make another bigger mountain. That will be Humphreys Peak, the highest peak in Flagstaff. A fun fact about Humphreys Peak. Last year, a New Yorker man was trying to hike it, and he got off trail twice. How? I don't know. People from the East Coast can't hike. But at any rate, he had to be saved twice by SAR people, like the waste of tax dollars he is, and they told him to try a different, easier hike, which I think is fair. So if you're not inclined for the incline, I would really recommend the Skunk Canyon Loop. Very easy, very flat, 2-mile trail here in Flagstaff with plenty of beautiful views and all sorts of little squirrels and birds and critters. I saw a cottontail rabbit there once, a little baby bunny. My gosh, that was just a perfect day when I saw that. I'm just going to keep going, keep filling in those mountain peaks. Yeah.
Do you have any Bob Ross fun facts?
I have no Bob Ross fun facts, do you?
I've heard about ones.
Oh, yeah?
I can remember exactly, but no, didn't really like his haircut, his big curve. But I figured we'd be saving money on haircuts for a while. And then when he started his career as a painter, it kind of became his brand, like his face would be curved. So he just kept,
Oh, man.
which I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like it suits her.
I think that's just another tragic case of someone's integrity being destroyed by the Hollywood machine.
It's pretty unfortunate.
It is quite unfortunate. And wow, look at that. Already we've whipped up some mighty mountains in our own little world. Now, what lies below those mountains, that's the town of Flagstaff. And so what you're going to do, you're going to clean your brush, get all the black off it, and now you're just going to beat the devil out of it. I like to beat it on the back of my paper, just so it doesn't mess up my painting. If you notice, my right arm is a little bigger than the left. That's because I'm beating it quite a lot. My brush, I mean. But so we're going to want to put some little Flagstaff buildings below these mountains. So once you get your brush nice and clean, get it wet again, you're just going to get the little drip off the tip. I think we'll go with a nice doo-doo brown. Find the doo-doo brown that is on your palette and just lather it up, smear it everywhere. Get that brush nice and coated with it. And then we're going to wipe it on our paper. There you go. Just super simple. Put your brush on and straight down like that. Go up and down till you've got a nice rectangle shape. Wow. Look at that big building. So strong, so structurally sound, that could survive any earthquake. And we're going to do that. We're going to put in a few more buildings because buildings needs friends and people in it to make a neighborhood. And just like that. Those of you following along at home, you're doing great. I can picture it in my mind already. These buildings are all looking similar. I think I'm going to do a shorter squatter building right here. So I'll start out with just a line across and keep making those lines across. Just like so. And maybe we'll put one here. Maybe it's got a little brother. Just like that. Nice and easy side strokes. Anyone can paint. Even you can paint. That's looking pretty solid already, but these mountains are looking a little bare. Let's put some trees on there. Now, wash our brush again. Beat the devil out of it. Uh-oh. Now, trees usually have brown trunks, but that's superfluous detail. We don't need to be nerds about it. We're just going to fill it up with some green, some lovely, lovely pine tree green. And typically when you follow with Bob Ross, the trees are the hardest part, even though he makes them. So I found a much simpler way to do the tree. You're just going to do a little V like that. See, just up and down, up and down, up and down. And we're just going to put a happy little coconino forest filled with all the mighty ponderosa pines on our mountain. It's all about the technique. Make sure you put some on the top too, on the tree line, just not here on the top of your Humphreys. Humphreys actually is tundra at the top above about 12,000 feet. No trees go there. Why? Don't ask me, I don't know. Just up and down, little up and down. A lot of people aren't happy with all the marked trees that you see in the forest that are marked to be cut down for lumber, but actually it's a good thing. The ponderosas are overpopulated. You should be able to drive a wagon or a off-road Jeep or whatever car it is you're driving under the influence it through one of these. So there's quite a lot of ponderosis in here. Once you've filled your forest up with all of its happy little stoner friends, I think we'll go ahead and add some snow. Now this paper's white, which is the color of snow. So a little workaround that I've found is get a little blue, just the littlest of blue on your brush. And you're just gonna dap it on like that. Go crazy with it. Just get a nice, good, even spread. And when that runs out, you just fill it up and do the whole thing over again. This part does get rather tedious, I will admit. I apologize, it's not the most exciting, but it's those little details that will really turn this from a painting into a work of art. And make sure you get some on the top of your buildings too. Maybe even put a little bit between them where the snow plows half-assed their job and buried your car in the snow because you didn't move it in time. And where all the sidewalks were not shoveled or salted, so all of the little pedestrians have to walk knee-deep in this snow. Speak it true. I will throw out some more snow on the bottom. I went a little too heavy on the blue here, but that's okay. We're just going to spread it out. Nice and thin, just like that. Get some happy, road-destroying, back-breaking snow in there. Wow. It looks like home already. Flagstaff is home to lots of ravens, lots of big ballsy ravens. One of them tried fighting me the other day. It kept jumping my direction, throwing its wings up and squawking, but I quickly threw hands with it, showed it to boss, and needless to say, I cook a pretty mean raven right now. So we're just going to load up with a little black, and we're just going to do a little V like that, you know, like you would do a seagull, but these aren't seagulls, these are ravens. Or maybe they are seagulls. This is your world. You put however many birds you want in your world of whatever kind. Another common winter bird here is the brown-eyed junco, which are just tiny little gray dudes. I'll show you how to make one of those. You're just gonna load your brush up with the teeniest little bit of black, you know, just enough for that scholarship. You're just gonna find a nice little building and put a little dot right there. That's our junco perched on the ledge. Maybe one lives here too. And maybe there's a whole family of them right here. Look at those cute little bastards. Now, my town and mountains are looking pretty good, but my sky's quite bare. Fortunately, Arizona is famous for something, and that is its sunsets. It's actually called the Sunset State, so I think I'm going to paint a nice, pretty pink and purple Arizona winter sunset. So to start, we're just going to clean our brush, get it nice and wet and juicy, load it up with purple, make it look bruised and battered. You don't want to tell this brush the same thing twice. And now you're just going to start here at your mountains and just like that, just a little back and forth, nice and tender. And it's okay if it runs out. You can always put more purple on. We are like Prince at Alluring out here. There's never enough purple. Back and forth, just like that. And now, just get a little bit of orange. Get a nice band of that right above the purple. Just like so. We're going to blend this with the even lighter touch of purple to blend it into a more reddish color. There you go. It should look like what comes out of you after you eat nothing but Taco Bell for a week. Yeah, look at that. Excellent habanero dookie color. That is what you are aiming for. That is a perfect Flagstaff sunset shade right there. Get some there. I'm going to clean our brush again so we don't contaminate our yellow. And just beat the devil out of it. Once you've got that nice and dried off, get it wet again. It's all about wet and dry and wet and dry. And load up on yellow. As much yellow as you can. When you think you've got enough yellow, keep going. You do not have enough yellow. And we're just going to put that right over nice habanero water. You can make these bands as thick or as thin as you want, just depending on what part of sunset you're trying to capture. This is your world. You get to make it. I'm pretty happy with how that looks. I think now we'll add our sun. Then I'll wash our brush again. Lather it up with red. Aunt Flo is coming into town and you are letting her in. There we go. There we go. Once it looks like that red is ready to be pulled out by the stream, it's going to make a nice little circle just like this. Really fill it in. Just like so. Now look at that. Before you know it, you already have a perfect Arizona sunset. I think my painting is just about ready. Courtney, how is yours? You're not ready? How much longer do you need? I can stall.
Maybe just like 4 or 5 more minutes.
4 or 5 more minutes. Girl, we are on a schedule. I will give you 2. Okay, so since Courtney is impossible to please and a perfectionist, not an artist, we're going to go ahead and just soil this painting by adding some superfluous detail to it. Now, we don't get a lot of these in Flagstaff, even though we have an Air Force base, but there are lots of attack helicopters and planes in Tucson that come by. It's quite the common sight. So I think we'll put a nice little Black Hawk attack helicopter in our painting. So just clean your brush, load it up, get it all smothered and covered in black, get it looking like Batman. We're just going to find a big empty spot in the sky where we can put some government surveillance. There we go. So how we're going to do this attack helicopter, we're just going to start with a circle, a great big circle, almost as big as the sun. And then once you get that done, you're just going to give a little stem shooting out of its tube right there. Just like so. So those are just a little less, nothing too thin. Now load up on some black after this. You want some big, strong propellers so that you can cross the desert in Afghanistan. What we're going to do a narrower X, a nice squashed X as if your mom sat on it. And just right at top, do 2 big, thick blades right there. Look at that. A wonderful Apache attack helicopter. What's it doing there? Maybe it found oil. Maybe it's hunting down a fugitive. It's your world. You decide why the government is killing innocent civilians in it. You know what? Let's give it a friend. Let's give it a happy little F-16 fighter jet to fly with. Oh no. No, let's do a stealth bomber. Let's do a stealth bomber. Maybe your stealth bomber is flying in to drop bombs on citizens off the coast of Florida to create a false flag attack that sways public opinion towards going to war with Florida. And maybe your current elected president is refused all of the CIA and FBI's claims to go to war with Cuba, so they have him assassinated in a parade in Dallas, Texas. Hypothetically, this is your world. This is your imagination. You throw in all those kooky, crazy little stories that didn't happen. And so we're just going to start. We're going to make a strong, big triangle. And put a little triangle right up top, just like that. Look at that happy stealth bomber. And look. Oh, some paint dripped down. That's okay. That's not a mistake. There are no mistakes in paint. It's only happy accident. Maybe it's dropping a bomb right there. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to turn that into a bomb that's being dropped on the Fort Tuthill military base. Maybe it was China that the CIA will blame on this attack. Maybe it was North Korea. All I know is that in 5 to 7 years, the housing market's going to be looking really good. Yeah, look at that big bomb just filled in. Nice with black. And I think we'll blow on it to dry a little bit. And now that we got a dry spot, I think it's about time we break the Geneva Conventions. We'll put a nice little nuclear hazard sign on it. We're just going to get some yellow on there, make a little ring, and add a couple triangles in there. Look at that. Look at that atomic bomb being dropped by the deep state onto the United States' own citizen. Isn't that the splendor of nature? How is that, Courtney? Did I buy you enough time? Let's compare. Let's see what your wonderful little imagination conjured up.
I feel like mine doesn't have as many details. I just look for a very simple landscape. And it doesn't look very wintry, but I just use my Bob Ross felt.
You definitely have an eye for color. A technique could absolutely use some work. I'm not seeing a lot of details right here. Is this where a happy little baby threw up, or did a vegetarian wipe his ass? What's happening here?
No. Yeah.
Hold it up to the camera to see.
Those are supposed to be like happy little trees.
Oh.
Me too.
Oh, I see.
These are more in the background.
Yes, those could be happy little trees.
Okay, but what do you think they are then?
I already gave my opinion, but it's up to your imagination. Tell us more. Show us more of what happens here. What is this, a decomposing corpse?
No.
What did you think? What's in your mind?
Those are the peaks, see? Because I tried to add some lighting. This one doesn't look as great. This one has a disease. These ones are okay.
Mountains can't catch diseases, but I'll overlook that little detail. This is your world.
Thank you.
This is your imagination. Well, if nothing else, I hope you've learned that whether you're skilled, talented, photorealistic, or abstract, even you can paint. Anyone can paint. So you go out there, you paint your happy little world, and you stick around for the music segment of this. Courtney, it's been an absolute blast painting with you. Thank you so much for being the first guest on Alluring Audio. Do you have any words you would like to part with?
Follow your dreams. Your painting dreams. Good night.
Good night, and God bless you all.